Hey guys, welcome to the first anime discussion. Today we will be discussing several topics. We'd like to welcome Lyndon, our guest tonight. Wel- Welcome, Lyndon.
Welcome, welcome, Gent folks.
Yes, we might be joined by someone else tonight, but we will start off with um, an anime topic that I know that has been discussed by many in the community. We will start by discussing the latest anime movie for um, the latest anime movie for Hero Academia, My Hero Academia. Um, Excellent movie, great movie. I just got done with it yesterday, and I know Linden has great reviews for it. So let's get it started. So, Lyndon, what do you think of the movie?
Um, Boku no Hero. Ah, what can I say about it? It's. I must say it's coming from the prior movie or the first one. It really is a step up. And I love
Definitely,
how it
definitely.
builds. I really like how the first one was. Um, the first one was an all around a great movie. I must say.
Yeah,
It had its slow moments with in between, where it took some time to get to that, that gigantic climax. But um,
yeah,
this movie started off with a pace, like it just started off one time with a pace. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Where it's
exactly.
like just straight into it, straight into the story, and it actually felt a little more cohesive. Watching this movie, if you watch at season 4 of Boku no
Yeah,
Hero,
yeah. I definitely
it
think you had to watch the season. It's not like a standalone movie. You had to watch the anime to get the whole grasp the whole situation of what was going on.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, looks like we lost him. Um, hmm, that's strange. Let's see if we can get him back. Oh, we lost you there for a second.
Yes, yes, yes. So going back to let's talking about the movie. Um, it really kicks off directly after, basically, or soon after the fourth season ends, or maybe even some time has passed before the fourth season ends, and then this
Yeah,
occurred. You can see um because a lot of the elements or certain characterizations, movesets, experience gained prior in that season,
yeah,
you can see expressed within the movie. Even especially Endeavor, you could see the scar on his face, which is very crucial. It tells you that's the end of the season. Um, I believe it even looks like it's some parts in the manga already.
yeah,
Um, like it has I don't know, it has some elements where it's like even further than what the anime is portraying. Um, I'm a anime only reader, so just by looking at this, I could just only assume. But it started off with a great pace, I must say. It's nice seeing the legal. It's nice seeing the League of Villains finally come back into action. We haven't seen them for a little time, in a sense, in season 4 of Boku no Hero. We have seen the main villain has switched to another, and we have seen the action change into different characters being introduced, which is very good. It broadens the
definitely.
whole world building of the series. And the movie, usually, anime movies are usually standalone movies or basically like a filler,
Yeah,
in a sense. That's a it kind of way might be harsh, but it's a lot of times anime movies are a lot more filler. Like, let's say you want more
yeah,
of the world, but there's nothing in the canon story. You could
Yeah.
see Boku no Hero, and I believe even the creator said this actual movie is actually canon in the story, and you could see it's canon.
Yeah. Now,
Um,
what as you said, as you mentioned that one thing I thought of, but I don't think I should bring that point up yet because it actually has to do with the ending of the movie. So I guess we'll get there later. But I I kind of I was wondering if a certain thing that happened at the ending would affect something that would happen in the anime, but it kind of resolved itself after. But we will get there later. But from my perspective of the that anime, I I agree with you. From start to finish, it was a great anime movie. Um, everybody had a part to play. I like the fact that, and that's one great thing about My Hero. All the characters get their little time to shine. They used everybody. Um, and one thing I liked about that anime as well, it unlike the first movie, it just felt a lot more cohesive, a lot more balanced, and it was a really good job done by the writers.
so as I mentioned earlier, the creator actually mentioned that it actually is canon,
Mm,
and looking at it, you could see it actually felt like another episode
yeah.
or another like not an episode but another season in episodic form. It felt like you got the full gist of what was introduced right there. That's why I love movies. You get the closure and
Yeah.
you get that new story, that building a lot of new characters introduced. I'm hoping to see maybe in the anime come to life, especially the young children, the
Yes.
young kids that were in it. They were a great asset to the whole overall presentation of the movie. And we just see from the start, and we're wondering what the League of Villains is doing, what package, what they're trying to transport. And during the transportation, we get to learn there's a new, it's like a miniature version of the League of Villains, in a sense. I don't want to
Yeah.
say it like that, but a miniature version of like a crew, another crew,
Yes.
um, upcoming crew. And
Yeah.
the crew actually remind you of All for One, actually.
Yes. A lot. And you know what it actually reminded me of? It was like you have the League of Villains, and remember where this other group in the anime joined the League of Villains, and they were trying to use them. Well, they were trying to use the League of Villains, but the League of Villains actually used them. Um, and that was the whole section of the anime where um with the horned girl. Remember when two of the members joined the League of Villains? I don't know if you remember that part. Um, it actually reminded me of like a coalition between them because what I was thinking of is why would the League of Villains give that guy all that power? And how did you, or like I wondered at the starting, like how did that guy obtain power similar to the original boss of the League of Villains? But further through the movie, it kind of explained how he obtained that power. But what I was wondering was why did they give him that power in the first place? And if you look towards the ending of the anime, it sort of gave you more of an idea of what was going on, but it didn't answer all the questions. What's your thought? What are your thoughts on that?
Um, from my speculation, looking into what was presented, you could see the Doctor, which was introduced in episode one, actually informing Deku that he doesn't have any power.
Yeah.
And you could see the reintroduction of this doctor in this anime movie. I don't know if you noticed, we haven't noticed him throughout the series generally after that first introduction in episode one, and
Yeah.
we finally been introduced back to him, and you can see he's actually working in the villainous group. So that's to
Yeah.
show you he's not the like just a normal doctor who just there looking at children,
Yeah.
or you come to like a child visit. He's actually someone who, in a sense, is almost eyeing out persons from young to know what they are capable of, and if the cook is necessary. And then if we could speculation, we haven't read the manga.
Yes.
We can assume he still person's quirk, and that brings in a question: did Deku even have a quirk sometimes originally, and it was stolen by the doctor? Maybe it was an amazing quirk. Who knows? You
You know, I
understand?
never thought of that. I never thought of that. That's a good, really good point.
Yeah, when you saw that doctor, it should have it bring like a set of light bulb just flashing. Like what's being introduced? If you remember exactly, that was a doctor that was introduced in episode one, like
Yes.
telling Deku mother and him that he's quirkless. So
Yes. Yes. That's true.
we seen that correlation between him in that movie and a random new character called Nine, which is the big villain right now, which is amazing
Yeah.
villain, I must say. It was amazing villain with the power. The only thing about the villain is he was one of the typical villains who just wants power and wants to change the world,
Yeah.
like with power, and he just want everybody like the strongest survive. That's the only his motive wasn't too truly deep.
Yeah.
Unlike some villains we've seen prior, even look at let's say the prior villains, we can see they had some really like you would see the people that have some hard convictions, and you could see where they're coming from in a certain light, and whether what they're doing has a certain kind of like, okay, I understand you. This one
Yeah.
just coming
True.
from the power, like he just wants power and he just wants to do. So his backstory going in that aspect, like he was more of the typical villains we don't usually see in My Hero. Usually we
Yeah.
have deeper villains, but he for a movie setting, he fit the bill well, and I will not
Yeah.
complain and give it a negative for that. Um, but he's one of those normal villains where he just wants to be strong and have power and rule the world and change the world from how it is right now. Um, so we cannot really go with him on his beliefs there, but something about the way they design him, you still felt for him. You
Yeah.
understand? You still felt for him and his desire because of the burning desire he had to actually heal himself. You see, the struggle with sickness when someone is sick, a lot of persons
Mm-hmm.
can relate to it
Yeah.
and have
That's true.
maybe experience or have persons in their life that are sick. That when you see them struggling for a cure, some way to cure the disease, it's something we can just all come back. Like that was the biggest motivation of why we even connect, I believe, a lot of times with that villain, is
Yeah.
because of that struggle, but not of his world domination kind of struggle. You understand? Which was,
Mm-hmm.
in a sense, it was in the background, but if you realize how they did the anime, it was more strategically sent or looking at his struggle just for his health, so he'll be able
Yeah.
to have himself at full power without restriction. Which just to say, if he got that power, he had just get the
Yeah.
little boy instead of the father. Oh my,
Yeah.
what would
That
have
would have been
been?
crazy.
Yes. So coming back to the main point here, um, Nai looking at it and like this speculation and this thinking about what's happening
Yeah.
and looking at the ending of the whole movie, you could see something happen. There's an important aspect that happened. There's an important aspect that happened.
Mm.
Nine tried to suck Deku's one for all power.
Yeah.
If you remember earlier up in the season, in season one, All Might said something very clear.
Mm.
You have to remember that.
Yeah.
He said all for one cannot be stolen. or can it be
Oh,
forced? Forced. It cannot be stolen because it cannot be forced. You have to. The person has to be willingly wanting to give it. You cannot be threatened. You cannot be.
hmm.
They have so much restrictions on it,
I didn't
so it
remember
cannot
that
go
part.
into wrong. But that's very important.
Yeah.
When nine actually tried to steal all from one, he said
Yeah.
if you realize what he said is very important. He said there's too many different quirks within him that he doesn't have the space.
Yes, I remember that part.
That's very important, Don.
Yeah.
That indicates that nine could have stolen all for one. You understand?
Hmm.
He could have stolen it if he only had the space. And I think that was
Yeah.
the big picture. I put this speculation. I think that was the biggest picture in that whole movie, just to show you that nine was a test, basically a guinea pig to test the
Hmm.
thing. If you realize, and they mentioned something in the movie where remember, for him, he actually went and gave his body as a being an experiment to test the
Yes.
multi-code thing. If you
Yeah.
realize, all the no moves are basically human beings. They they put how much codes in
Destroyers.
and then they get deformed. You understand? I
Yeah.
believe at the end of the day, if you really thinking deeply and see all the things connecting together, the doctor is testing persons or testing things, testing individuals to see if they can be similar to one for all. You
True.
understand? I
True.
think
That makes a lot of sense, you know.
Yeah, I believe Shinjeki will eventually, when the byproduct, I think nine is the big byproduct, the big success.
Yes.
You understand? They just have to get to the point where he doesn't have the disease that will stop him. And I believe they will even give now the name is nice nine. Because that means he only had like basically he could get nine powers,
Yes.
nine different
Yes.
quotes at once.
Basically, yeah.
But I don't believe all one for all had that limit with how many powers he could
Yeah.
absorb. So that's to show you where it was a miniature version of him.
Hmm.
And the way Nines had his power level wasn't going up like all for one way. He could actually go to different levels of the different power.
Yeah.
So that's to show you, but he still that's to show you how much of a threat he was to Deku and the whole team,
Yeah.
even
Exactly.
at that limited state. But I just show you how sometimes all these individual powers can really devastate, especially powers that combine. And if
Yeah.
you're ready, he chose powers. He only taken powers that basically are strong and they could combine with each other. They were not just any
Yeah.
random. These
Random.
powers
Yeah.
all come together to make like almost him. He had an penetrate shield. He had like blue eyes white dragons. I don't know if you
Yeah.
want to call it that. Like blue eyes white dragons
Yeah.
attacking the enemy. He had the laser kind of hands, similar finger cyclops, but
Yeah.
you can do it in any of his fingers.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
understand?
The
He had the most important, the most powerful of his attacks was basically changing the weather to suit what he wants.
yeah.
You
That's
understand?
some crazy power. That's like Storm.
Yes. And he also stole the cell regen power from the father, which was a bit
But
useless.
yeah,
Yeah.
because it was
Uh
only for type A, right?
yes. I think
To me,
type A.
the sun one, the sun's power was type B, as if.
Well, whichever one. Um, that was something there to think of. So, just looking back at it, I think that was the biggest picture to take from the movie. I could
Yeah.
speculate on, and it was a success. It was
Yes.
a success for the villain that I and it's 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 such a I don't know, like I don't know if that captured you, but Shinzaki killed Nine, and I don't think any of the other persons know about it. They
Yeah. Yeah.
captured they captured
Mm.
the other villains, but Nine
Yeah.
was the only one that kind of escaped.
Escaped. Yeah.
But usually it's similar to even it just speaks of volumes because he's the one that really he at the end of the day got everyone wrong with up. He's the one that
Yeah.
escaped, but he's the one that actually died. When everybody
Yeah.
was
That's true.
captured by the heroes, they actually survived. Now, one thing I must tell you, I really love the wolf kind of bear kind of dog
Yeah. I wanted to talk to you about
character.
him. Yeah.
Yes.
because oh, before I get to him, one thing I wanted to mention. What did you think about like, remember he had a limit? What did you think about him overcoming that limit? Do you think
Oh,
that it the main villain? Do you think that was actually possible, or do you think it didn't make sense to you? Like
now,
the way he just um went from being drained of using the power too much, and at the ending he was able to overcome it and reach new levels.
well, if you realize he did he go East plus Ultra fighting them as well. And
Yeah,
also if you realize he had the doctor gave him some serum on his back. I don't know if you
yes,
realize. He
it
utilized
actually
every
broke.
single drop. Yeah, he utilized every single drop of that into his
Yeah,
body. And he just went full force. So that was a remedy for helping him overcome the pain and the sickness he was going. So with the combination of that, his will and his determination to see through and not stopping and he's seeing his objectives right in front of him. By
yeah,
all means, it just like and if you realize the whole show of My Hero Academia is always about going plus ultra, going past
yeah,
your limits,
exactly. Yeah, that's true.
going where you never thought you would be able to
It's
go
kind of
before.
like Naruto's Believe It.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Naruto.
But
Yeah.
what I wanted another thing I wanted to mention, as you mentioned the wolf guy, um what I wanted to ask you was, do you think the wolf guy would be more than a match for the main villain in the main villain's normal state? Because the level that the wolf guy was able to reach was crazy.
Yeah,
Actually, very
I really
crazy.
felt like the wolf guy, out of all the other villains, he really got the shine, I must say.
Yeah,
Like his power was, in a sense, he was the strongest by himself.
yeah,
He was the strongest by himself. Nine, the advantage Nine has is he can still now. If you think about it, he even took the wolf guy quirk.
I thought about that too.
Yeah, but now the thing about I have not a problem, but there's something about my hero like some of the quirks, like it makes them like inhuman.
Yeah,
So I'm wondering if he's still that quirk, do they turn back like a human form? What's happening?
yeah, that's an interesting question. That's a very interesting
I'm
question.
wondering. Like they say, you take the invincibility girl quote, she gets back. She should just lose invincibility. So
Yeah,
she actually be you just see her and go all around.
yeah.
Um, if you take
The
the frog
frog, yeah.
girl
That's what
girl
I
quote,
thought you would
is
have
she
mentioned at first.
what's happening with her? You
Yeah,
understand me? Like that's some
that's true.
persons like think of the other guy that his quote is the one that
The
tail
arms.
disappears. Yeah,
Yeah,
they have the one with the arms. Yeah, yeah. What happened? So it was an interesting concept to think about.
that's true. That's
Um,
very true.
but really
Because some of
he got
them
the shine.
more like mutants than anything. Like
Yeah,
um their body actually the cook actually changed their body instead of just um additional powers
yeah.
to a human
But
body.
I must say his quirk was really interesting. The girl with the hair quirk wasn't bad as well.
Yeah,
The mummy guy got his spotlight, but it wasn't too long. But he got his spotlight,
yeah,
and his quirk is very important, very powerful. I find. It was
yeah,
nice to see Boku get a little challenge at the start with him, and how
yeah,
he was controlling him. Um, but overall, two villains of them, the two villains, the wolf and the
nine.
Nine really got the show. And I must tell you,
Yeah,
the wolf guy really put up a fight. And
yeah,
in a sense, I don't know if they for some reason the fire slash ice guy
mm.
really felt a little weaker in this movie
Yeah. I find
than
I think they were trying to put the main focus on
yes on
the
Deku
two
and Boko.
rivals.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
it felt
Yeah,
like a Naruto and Sasuke kind of vibe.
yes, yes. And in a sense. I believe they did power him down for that series, for the movie,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it was interesting to see working with all the rest of the schoolmates, trying to defeat the guy. But in reality, he's supposed to be one of the top three with Boku,
Yeah. I was
Deku,
thinking,
and them. And
although they
his
gave him a
powers,
little shine
yeah, at the
with
end of
him
the day,
being
they
the,
gave him yeah, he took down the guy. He really get
yeah.
the shine, and he really came up. But that's to show you, and Iris, if you realize, Boku no Hero always shows you that the person that really have a very intellectual mind in the battling is Deku and Boku.
Yes.
They never really show the higher slash ice guy as a very smart. He's just
Intellectual.
gifted. He's
Yeah.
just a powerful, gifted person, but they never really show him as like he's extremely smart and very aware,
Yeah.
like Deku. Because
Yeah.
Boku, that's to show you they drive is a little greater than the fire slash ice guy. You
Yeah.
understand?
But one
And
thing I was a little bit confused about, and I don't know if you can clarify that a bit for me. When the fire slash ice guy Todoroki, I think that's his name, right?
yes.
Yes. When he was fighting the wolf guy, he got a memory in his head about his father saying something about the to use the fire, something about increasing the temperature. So I thought in my head that he would have to increase the temperature to defeat the guy with fire, but then I saw him using the ice instead. What are your
Now
thoughts on that?
I love that because it shows you a different contrast. He's more leaning to his mother side of power.
Yeah,
And it continues to show. Even remember in the starting of Boku no Hero, if only in season two he finally was able to
started using the fire.
freely start using his fire.
Yeah,
And it goes to show you that even if he uses it, he still primarily uses the ice. And he tried to be like almost opposite to his father in a sense.
yeah,
Um, and it was a nice difference comparing to the ending of Boku no Hero season 4. I don't know if you remember the ending of season 4
mm,
with Endeavor. it,
yeah,
it really is a big contrast because his father really show you the power of his power, and it's
yeah,
nice to see the opposite with the sun with the ice. So he really
yeah,
changed it, and it makes sense, and especially in a sense. And remember, they're heroes; they're not there to kill. Unlike the
yeah.
other guy, it makes sense if you're doing the fire now to kill.
No,
But
but I wondered if there was a significance of Deku's rival. What's his name again? The grenade guy.
if there was significance,
No, he remember he kept saying he going to kill him. Remember? He kept
oh
saying that
yes, yes,
throughout the
yes, yes,
series.
yes. Yeah, I think that's
Throughout
just his
the
personality. That's just his
yeah,
personality. But in remember, he wants to be a hero. He knows very well
yeah,
he cannot do that. But I guess it's a way to intimidate the villains as well to think like if they don't think the heroes that they're just to not hurt them too much unless knock them out that their life is at risk as well. You
yeah.
understand? If
But
they thinking
he's like an endeavor kind of personality, you know me.
and it goes to contrast to show you why I that's why I really love the anime series where it shows you that everybody like even the Leo villains fought they could maybe turn Boku to their side because of
Yeah,
his personality. It's almost villainous.
yeah,
And it goes to show you that this guy is really a critical thinker and
yeah.
he's very intellectual and very smart. And
The
don't
more and
mind
more
his
I see him
yeah,
fight, the
the more
more
you
I will
more
see.
and not just the more you see him fight, but the more you understand him,
Yeah,
the greater you understand it's a foolish endeavor what you're thinking. You
yeah.
understand? He's not he really wants to be the best.
Mm,
And I love how you say it's similar to endeavor in the drive to
yeah,
surpass. You understand me? The
yeah,
number one or the person that's supposed to be number one.
yeah,
He reminds you of what your endeavor and all might. And it goes
yeah,
back to Hawks, which I love. And Hawks made the statement to endeavor. And he always say why he admires endeavor. Because
yeah,
everyone, because of um um All Might always there. They always believe they'll always be there in life to protect them.
Yeah,
But in
that's true.
reality, you always have to think about a successor. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? And All Might thinking about the successor knew it would take time.
Yeah,
But he never thought he would maybe lose the power before Deku
so
could
soon.
maybe learn or be able to use the power so somebody else will always be
Yeah.
there to take on the mantle. But
Mm,
if Endeavor didn't take on the mantle, the Hero Society would be like destroyed.
exactly. Yeah.
So that's why
Yeah,
you
but
always need somebody, you always need a successor right after you, just in case something unexpected happens.
yeah, I guess that's why Endeavor was, well, that's not the only reason why, but like I guess that's why he was training his son to come up after him and be the number one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but another thing I was thinking of, well, when I was going through the show, but it kind of explained itself throughout the movie, was like the like how would they go, like if they're going to use the movie to go to the next season, so like in a continuous sense, how would they explain um Deku and Boku using the same power? And I guess throughout the movie they explained it off, so he didn't actually remember what happened and stuff like that. But
And
like,
I actually did a little more research on that, and some people hated that. That's one of the parts they didn't like because it's like they copped out
mm,
all of
yeah,
it. And in reality, like why after everything is made, unless the power all for one has some kind of thing, they like there's a lot to think about because I did a little more research on that, and apparently what Deku did was he didn't realize it. He thought he actually gave Boku his power, but in
mm,
reality, he and all might call it a miracle, but
yeah,
basically, see if you remember Naruto,
mm,
going to the ending in the war,
yeah,
he actually shed all of 90's power, generally every single person on the battlefield.
mm,
He gave all of them a piece of it.
yeah,
You understand?
mm,
So in a sense, it's something similar what Deku did with Boku,
yeah,
and that's the best way I could explain what happened. He thought he was gay. He actually, in a sense, like All Might said, he's like because he got unconscious and everything.
yeah. The
It
power
went
went back
back,
to him.
but then he realized and he said no, it's actually a miracle that what happened there.
Yeah,
And All Might never actually did what Deku did,
mm,
and there's a lot into that, and I believe hopefully a lot more that will be explained going on in the anime,
yeah,
and or such the manga going to explain a lot more of what's going on. But at the end of the day, it made a great way or a different way. They didn't really go plus ultra, although they did in a sense, but it in like if you realize how the anime has always been going, it's always like a plus ultra to defeat an enemy, going
yeah.
past your limits.
Well,
I
they
always in
did
fact
kind of go past their limit,
they did
because
go, yeah.
they were knocked down with the whole tornado spinning kind of thing. They were hit with the lightning, and they kept coming back. They kept coming back each time, and like the guy was like, "How, like, they do, like, how are they still coming back after they've been hit so hard?" So even like after a time, like I was like, I wonder if that actually makes sense, like the way they were able to come back after being hit
Now,
by.
you're looking at that, but if you really think about it, it doesn't make sense. Especially,
Mm,
it might make sense for Boku getting the power to go up and do more, but
yeah,
Deku was already knocked down and he always had his power. So all of a sudden,
yeah,
he shares his power and he gets power up too. You understand?
yeah.
Um, that was the big difference there. But looking at it, if you think of too
Mm,
much logic, you can't put too much
yeah,
logic in
yeah.
it.
That's true.
It worked out as a great plot, and then we
Yeah,
enjoyed it. That's what I'll
yeah,
tell you. It was a great way to end the movie, I must say. Honestly, that touched me. And if you know the comments of the creator, he said, this is supposed to be the actual ending of how he was going
uh,
to end the whole anime.
yeah,
You understand? This
mm,
is supposed to be the end. That's the original ending when he
yeah,
created the show. That's how it was
mm,
going to be.
yeah,
And then he changed it. Or he had to make it. He changed it because the story developed so well and everything been going so
yeah,
well. But You see, this was the original with the anime. So in a sense, you could see how it was going to be the ending
Yeah.
and how it come to a great conclusion. And I must tell you, I can't wait to watch that movie again. I even after
Yeah.
I finished watching it, I went back and just rewatched the fight scene, rewatched certain
Mm,
parts and elements, and I just enjoyed it.
yeah.
I don't know, some of Boku no Hero just have it.
Mm,
It's a
yeah.
great anime. I recommend anyone to go and get into it. You know, so
Mm.
start watching it, enjoy every piece of content that produces is just awesomeness. I must
One
tell you.
one thing I really liked about it was everybody working together. Um Everybody getting their time to shine, everybody pushing past their limits, coming up with great plans, great ideas to stop the villain. Um and that like and one thing I was waiting for was to see I keep forgetting his name. The guy with the Dark Shadow. Dark Shadow, right?
Yeah.
Um I know he has a time when his Dark Shadow can go crazy, and I was waiting to see if he would actually be able to beat the girl and just let loose and go crazy. And the girl actually figured out what was his weakness. And he actually revealed his weakness without um realizing what he did. He actually said, "We're in my world now." So the girl actually figured out he was weak against light, and that's how she was able to stop him. But if she didn't figure that out, I think it would have been a lot easier for him to just take her out of the park.
Yeah. I
And
understand.
and
I
and
understand.
another thing I was thinking about was the way well, I was thinking that um the what's his name, the hawk guy, the guy that actually the hero that actually figured out what was going, well, got the message, and he was rushing towards the island. I thought he would play a part in helping them defeat the guy, but they actually let the the young heroes actually defeat him on their own.
Yeah.
So I actually was waiting for him to reach on the scene to give them a helping hand, but they decided to go another route.
Yeah. I personally thought I when I started watching it and I saw the whole battle and how it was going, I thought maybe the heroes might have arrived, but I said it could be a cop out. I think we should have let the young heroes really handle this,
Yeah,
and they pull through. They pull
yeah,
through and they pull through. So I like
yeah.
it. And
I think
each time I say we say we pass the limits, I just remember Black Clover and
yeah,
Captain.
yeah. Um, yeah. I think it would have messed up the whole conclusion of the anime if they actually assisted them, because if you watch from the starting, the whole point of them being there was to actually feel how it is to be heroes by themselves with no help or assistance from the people that are um actually senior pro heroes. So I think if they got the help, it would have kind of um reduced them into seeing like they cannot actually handle the situations on their own.
Yeah. So they handled it, and I must say they did it wonderfully. And I like to, it was very nice to see they on their own and they like their own hero agency. Just
Yeah,
the
yeah, that
whole
was a
class
really good
together.
thing.
Yeah, it's like the whole class and their own hero agency, and they're working towards trying to solve problems, whichever it is. And it just worked out well, I tell you.
Yeah,
I enjoyed the movie, and I tell you, I'm excited to rewatch it when I can
yeah,
again.
rewatched in dub. Yeah,
In dub, yeah. It's been nice to rewatch it in dub.
yeah. All right.
Yep.
Well, I think Jamal was trying to reach me, so we will go for part two with the God of High School. So, well, I'll end that broadcast and we'll continue from there.
Wonderful. Later, guys.
Oh wait. Oh yeah. Oh well, it looks like Jamal is on, so like I guess we'll just continue from there. I might just separate the video later. All right, I'll just add him in now.
Okay.
Hey Jamal,
Wow.
welcome to the stream.
Wow. That timing. Right as I say, there's no pressure to bring me in. You guys bring me in. That is. Whew.
Yeah. I wish you could have joined us for that discussion on the My Hero movie. Such a great movie.
Yeah, I noticed. I realized that's what you guys are talking about, and I almost cut my ears off. So I'm glad.
Could you have heard did you hear while you were in the back room?
No, wait,
No, okay.
wait. I think I was able to hear stuff, but I'm not 100% sure because I took the earphones out and I just put it down. I didn't want to hear a thing, but I think I was hearing a little, some stuff. So I don't know. We're gonna have to test that out again
Yeah.
later off
All
air.
right, so welcome to the podcast, my friend. How are you doing?
Doing all right, and in honor of you guys, my cousins, wanted to try to represent, the lovely
Yeah,
island of Saint
Caribbean
Lucia.
island, yeah, boy.
Yeah, unfortunately, this isn't a Saint Lucian shirt.
Yeah.
I have a couple, but I didn't think that they were up to par for being on video, so I said I'll rep this instead, and I think
Yeah.
this is a nice one. So there we go.
Yeah, man. So
But
today we'll be discussing God of High School, new anime, fresh out, um, made by Webtoon, the same people who made Tower of God. I don't know if you heard about that one yet, Jamal. Have you heard
I
about Tower of
I
God?
I have heard it. It's been mentioned to me a few times by Lyndon. So yes.
Yeah, definitely a must watch for you later on. I actually remembered you telling me that you watch a lot of anime off Crunchyroll, and Crunchyroll is actually in. I don't know if you noticed while you were watching God of High School, you saw a bit of Crunchyroll in there. I don't know if you noticed that.
So two things. One, I don't want
Mhm.
all my anime on Crunchyroll. Let me just clarify that. I have a variety of
Sources.
sources. Yes, fortunately for me. So
Yeah.
but yes, Crunchyroll is one of the places I utilize, and I did not. So the second thing, I don't think I noticed. I'm trying to think. I don't think I noticed the Crunchyroll business when watching the first two episodes. But understand,
Did you
I watched.
notice it, Lyndon?
I did actually on the stadium.
Yeah.
Its stadium slash webtoons was displayed both advertisements. I noticed
Yeah.
it very clear. It was very clear to me, and I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, they're really going hard.
Yeah,
Well,
I was like, that's interesting, you know.
out of fairness to me, um, I think I have two reasons for not seeing it. One, this being a new show, just totally new show, and just one of my first times watching just I should say an anime that has not actually been recommended to me. Like, we planned on all watching this together, all right. But to say it's an actual recommendation, like boom, Jamal, you have to watch this. This did not fall into that category. So I think
Yeah.
that was one of the reasons why I was just kind of like I felt
You
like
were
I was
just
just like a fish.
casually
Yeah,
watching, you was
yeah, and I kind
yeah.
of felt like a fish out of water, just kind of like, all right, what's going on here? Okay, so I was missing the fine details, I guess. And two, I was watching the show at like 4 in the morning, so I don't know if I was fully awake. So just had to put that
I
out there.
hope you weren't on the
So
waking up people.
Nah, man. I keep everything in here always.
so a
Yes.
good a good a good a good a good thing to say is each of us coming from different perspective in the anime scene.
Yeah.
Jamal could give you maybe story on his how much history he has. If it, I could give you some history, and Don could even have some history.
Yeah.
And in a sense, Don is the number one. He has watched countless. I'm in the mid
But
range
but
where
that but
I'm,
doesn't mean
yeah,
finished. Watched, but not
yes.
necessarily finished.
Yeah.
But we can get to that later.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of way in the mid range, and Jamal is a newbie. So we wanted to have different dynamics in different characters, or individuals with experience
Yeah.
within the anime world. So each of us can give our forte in basically talking about a new anime or experiences like that, where persons can get a better idea of if this is for them.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah. I think that's a good thing. I was actually discussing that with Jamal. One of the topics I think we should bring on the show is well, not necessarily tonight, but another show. I think we should add like just bring our experiences. Like I don't know if you are seeing the screen the way I am seeing it, but the way you mentioned that you are in the middle and Jamal is like the least experienced. I am actually first on the screen, you in the middle
I
and Jamal.
hmm I
That's
was
so
I was as soon as you started talking and about to say that, I just noticed that even before you
yeah,
said
I
it.
actually found that funny when you started mentioning that. So but yeah,
And to add to that, it's funny because of course I'm the one late to the discussion, so it's kind of like me
yeah.
being the newbie and the newcomer is very fitting that I would be coming in however many minutes late. So
Yeah.
it's all symbolic.
But yeah, what I was just mentioning, I think I actually mentioned that to Jamal a bit off air as well, that we can do shows actually coming from the perspectives of experienced, mid experience, and least experience, and how that we each of us got into anime, the experiences we've gotten into, and shows that we can recommend for people who are just starting off, and they can get this perspectives of people who have different experiences in anime as well. But yeah, so let's get to the first episode. We'll just do both episodes since we're a bit late in starting this series. So we will continue doing it weekly. But since high school, the God of High School is already on episode 2, we will just cover both episodes in this episode of this podcast. So let's start with episode 1. I'll start off by saying I was really intrigued to see how this show would go on, especially after experiencing the first of the webtoon series, Tower of God, which was a really interesting take on anime for me. Linan, of course, introduced me to that anime, and I it was actually the only anime I was watching for that season, and I looked at it and it had some really interesting perspectives. And when it was when we finished watch that anime, I actually found it was like a really good anime. I can't wait to see the second season of it. And I guess Lina and I will do a discussion on it later. If Jamal ends up watching it, then maybe he can join. Maybe he
Uh,
can join the discussion
how,
as
how
well.
many episodes is it? 13 or is it more than that?
I think it's 14.
All right, so
It's 14, right, Linan?
Yes, it is.
there's hope.
Yeah.
There's hope. Cross my
Yeah,
finger.
so it's a short watch, only one season out so far, so yeah, you can binge watch that in no time, man.
By morning time.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. But so coming from that experience with Tower of God, I was wondering if we would get some kind of correlation with God of High School. The first episode of it to me was um not as impactful as something like my hero.
Don't do it. That's not fair. Come on, you gotta give another show. You can't use the top, the pinnacle of shows to as an example. Come on, man.
Yes.
Give a more average example, like especially for me, a newbie who doesn't have the experience. What's another between the two of you? What's another show that you can say had a more impactful beginning, but isn't on fire the way My Hero
Hmm.
is, in my opinion?
Give me some assistance, Ellen. Then I
Uh,
ain't
I,
gonna
I,
be
I
honest
I
with
had
you.
a prior conversation in German about that, and I gave for me, God of High School first episode, I it I find it was fire. It was great. Um, the
Hmm.
starting of it was a bit slow, and usually it is trying to introduce the new
Yeah,
characters
that's
into
true.
into the pot of the cooking pot. You understand?
Yeah.
Trying to get a little accustomed to them, getting a little of the personalities. And as I mentioned to Jumal, it's also a great way to do some world building, quick world building
Hmm.
right there. So
True.
you get some better expectations of what to it's like even though I was watching the first few minutes, seeing like a hand just destroy a whole island. You understand?
Yeah,
We
yeah,
we
that's
we,
true.
we get we get a scale of the powers, like what's happening here. Like for
Yeah.
someone to just rest their hand like that and destroy a whole island.
They name dropped
It
King Kong in there too.
You understand me? It basically it was a great way to show you like the top tier kind of power scaling
Yeah.
to what we are getting like the normal what we see in let's say the chase scene starting in the episode.
Yeah.
Um I don't know, it's like it was a great way to just show different power levels and how things starting and just getting to know the characters for me. And it ended in a nice cliffhanger that really brought it back home like to show you, yes, come back for next episode.
Oh,
Yeah.
got some echoing. I don't
Yes.
know who's in the echoing thing. But anyway,
Pardon
yeah.
me, you got an echo.
No,
Yes, we
on
have an
Linda's.
we have an echo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I'm hearing
I'm
it
hearing
on your end, Linda.
audio right now. I'm not sure what's happening right now.
I don't know. But anyway,
Yeah. But for me, you're right. I don't want anybody to get the idea that I felt like the first episode was terrible. I just thought it wasn't like totally blow me out of the water. That's what I'm saying by that. But it was still a really good episode. I like the fact that they introduced the three main characters. Well, I would consider the three main characters in there. At the same time, they showed a bit of their strength. They they gave them a nice little introduction with the whole. Well, I don't want to give any spoilers to anybody who's watching. So, but yes, they gave a nice little introduction to it. So, um, the first episode, I feel like it made me have a bit of an interest in all three of these characters, and um, it gave a strong enough reason to go on to the next episode to see, okay, let's see if this builds up from there. What do you think of your experience of the first episode on God of High School, Jamal?
see, so I I fall more in line with how you feel about the episode. See, Don, I was telling Lyndon off air that for me, the first episode didn't strike me as anything crazy or spectacular or out of the ordinary or anything. You know, it was. I think the word I used a lot was it was good. It was fine. You know, um, it. I didn't think it was bad in any way. I really didn't. I for me, coming off of a show like My Hero, which is what you mentioned, but I just don't think that's fair because even though I don't have the breadth of watching anime the way you two do, I, from my estimation, it's truly up there. We can get into discussion about My Hero another time, but the point is, coming off of My Hero, coming off of Attack on Titan, which is another show for me, is just totally up there. Coming off of and by coming off of those shows, we're talking at least the first season of those shows. In the case of Attack on Titan, I have 3 seasons experience with the show. We have Hunter x Hunter. I watched the first season of that.
Yeah.
And Avatar: The Last Airbender. Watched the first season of that into the second season. Coming off of those 4 shows, the first episode of God of High School,
Yeah.
it didn't blow me away the way those did.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So and the thing and the other thing is I was telling Linda this, and it's a point to kind of, I think, bridge the gap between how you felt about the first episode and how Linda felt about it.
Yeah.
Those 4 shows that I mentioned, which I love them all.
Yeah.
Only out of those 4, I would say 2 out of the 4. 2 of them actually had first episodes that really struck me. And it was just like, wow, this show really, really, really has grabbed my 100% of my attention. We're not talking about 50%. We're not talking about 5. We're talking like, oh, I have to. In fact, if I think about it, honestly, only one did. One of those episodes, out of those 4 first episodes did. I could throw the second one that got close, and then the other 2 was just okay for me. So for me, My Hero Academia was a show out of all of them that just 100%, 100%. I was fully invested. I was just like, boom, boom, next episode. All right.
So what were the 4 shows you were talking about?
The 4 shows are My Hero Academia.
Yeah.
Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
Hunter x Hunter.
And
Avatar: The Last Airbender, which technically is an anime, but these are the shows that I'm coming off of as we are, as we talk about God of High School. I just have to give that perspective.
Yeah.
So, My Hero is the only one out of those 4 shows that had a first episode that truly 100% struck me. And I'm like, whoa. And I have to say that because these aren't shows that I just watched recently. These are shows that I actually love. Like I actually enjoyed them all. I thought all of them had great first seasons. And more than that, but certainly first seasons. And so the point I'm making is, so the show that comes in second for me in terms of the first episode when I first watched it was Attack on Titan. I thought the first episode was pretty good. For me, it didn't strike me as, oh, this show was great. Not right away. That didn't happen for a few episodes. And I'm not, it's not criticism, it's just to give perspective. The other 2 shows, Hunter x Hunter, I've told Lyndon this before, and I might have mentioned it to you as well. I started Hunter x Hunter approximately a year ago. You laugh. I'm not saying it for you to laugh. I'm just, but it's not that the show was boring or anything like that. It's just I wasn't in the right mind frame to really, or mindset to watch it. And as we can get into, sometimes you just have to be, the timing just isn't right to watch shows, And I watched the first episode. It took me probably a few days to watch it. Not unsimilar to you taking a few days to watch the My Hero movie you just watched. Yeah, sometimes it just takes a few sessions.
Yeah.
But I watched the first episode and I'm like, okay, seems okay. I would like to watch the next episode. And I made it to episode 2, about halfway, and then I paused, and I didn't resume until this year. The point I'm trying to make is
Yeah.
that show, which I ended up getting into eventually, the first episode didn't capture me.
Mm.
Avatar: The Last Airbender, a show that has continually impressed me episode after episode after episode.
Yeah.
The first episode didn't grab me the way it might have some people. It just didn't. And I'm saying all of this to say these are all great shows. I actually, they're not just great. I actually love and enjoy all these shows. So now coming into a show like God of High School, I'm not going to say my expectations were set too high. No, I don't think it was that. I'm pretty good about having realistic expectations or tempering my expectations for things. But I think I'm saying all of this to say, even though the first episode of the show didn't quite have that impression on me or that impact,
Didn't blow you away.
it didn't blow me away, but it still had enough in it to, as you said, to keep me interested, to keep me wanting to watch a little more. So for me, it was good enough. So I don't know if that means that I'm quite in between you and Lyndon, or I'm just more on, geared towards you. But either way, I think the fact that I can acknowledge a show can have an okay beginning and then just get better. The fact that I can acknowledge that means that my view of the first episode doesn't in any way mean that I'm now not going to give this show a chance, or there's no way that I could even deem it a great show when all is said and done.
So let me just ask you, because I want, well, all three of us have slightly different perspectives on this show, on this first episode. Let me just ask you, and I'll go to Lyndon after. When you watch an anime show, I'll just leave it on anime. What exactly draws you to a show? Do you have specific things that draw you to a show? Whether it's action, whether it's comedy, whether it's the storytelling, the suspense, a mixture of all of those. What actually blows your mind? What actually draws you? What actually pulls you and keeps you coming back for more?
Well, for me, I know you try to specify anime or keep it anime, but I think the concepts that apply to anime apply to kind of all the shows and just everything that I watch, and vice versa. It goes hand in hand, the things that you mentioned for sure, they all factor in to one, generating that initial interest, but then on top of that, keeping me there, keeping me coming, as they say. Definitely. I think I like, at the end of the day, I think we're all looking for deep stories, at least the three of us. I think we are. And, you guys can give your answers. But in addition to a deep story, you can have a deep story, but from show to show to show, right? So I don't mind for any specific tone. There's some shows that are just much more lighthearted. There's some shows that are quite serious. When we talk about Attack on Titan, talk about a serious show. But the thing is, in the midst of all of it, I'm just looking for great storytelling, character development, which kind of goes back to storytelling, and yeah, that's mainly it. I'm very I like to give different genres. Um, you know, I think I'm very in that way. I love action. I love comedy. I must say I do love humor. I
Mm.
won't say it's my favorite thing ever. I'd really have to think about it. But humor, it goes a long way. Because when you're watching these shows, it all comes to the entertainment, escapism, all this stuff, and you're looking for a good story, you're looking for action, you're looking for all these things. But sometimes the best thing that you can just receive is just a simple act. And if we ever talk about Avatar, I can go more into that about comedy and everything. But
Yeah.
that's one thing that definitely uh, I appreciate when I'm watching these shows. So that's me.
Yeah. For me, um, I like I appreciate different levels of shows.
Mm.
Um, a show can have maybe not that deep of a story, but it's actually very funny and sprinkle of romance in there with action as well, and it would make it for me. Um, another show could have probably be more serious, and
Mm.
but the storyline is really engaging. It makes you think. That show I can appreciate it as well, and I'm someone that has tried as much as possible to not limit myself in like going out of the box.
Hmm.
Like, for example, mech anime. I used to
Mm.
from a lot of mech anime. I was like, um, man, I don't know about these kind of things. My name says Slasher X, so I like a lot of animes with a lot of action, with swords, you know, these kind of things. But I gave a few mech anime a chance, and I could say there are a few mech anime that I actually really love. Gundam is an anime that I watched. I can't say that I'm absolutely in love with it, but I
Mm.
like the first one that I watched.
I'm sure that's probably the first one that comes to mind. I mean, it's
Yeah,
the first one that came to my mind.
yeah. It was really good. Watching Wing Zero and all these other things, I didn't get all of it. Especially, I was a bit younger at that um time, so I didn't really get all these politics and other stuff they had going on in there. But
Mm.
uh, I enjoyed the action scenes and other stuff that was going on. I'm sure a lot of stuff flew past my head because I wasn't really looking for all that. That time was the age of Dragon Ball Z for me. So
Hey man, simple minded. Nothing wrong with that.
yeah, Dragon Ball Z was what made Dragon Ball Z a hit for me was high action and comedy as well. So it did a great job for me. Now growing up, um, I was able to see there's more to anime than just action. There's also it's just like TV shows. There are all types of TV shows, and you just have to sometimes open your mind to experience different things and give some things a try. And you might be pleasantly surprised to see actually, hey, this thing I really enjoyed. So, um, yeah, that's my take on the whole thing. Lyndon, would you mind sharing what actually draws you to liking or loving or falling in love or being blown away by a particular anime?
Well, I'm just simply into storytelling.
Storytelling does it for you.
Yeah. Um, whether whichever genre, whatever. Once it's a good story, it's delivered well, it fits well. I into it. Very simple. Nothing like.
So let me just throw some a controversial question out there. So,
Hmm.
so I heard somebody said recently that Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z does not have that much of a great story. So
Oh,
I
snap.
was wondering, what is your take on
I don't know if
that?
you're putting the question out to Lyndon specifically or both of us. But
Well, I'm not seeing Lena in a face cam right now. So
I,
Jamal,
I,
why?
I guess I have to start off, right?
Yeah.
Well, the first thing I will say is, was that me? Was that the one that said that?
I
Because
I'm not saying any names right now.
if I'm the person that drew inspiration for that question, I just want to clarify any thoughts that I may have expressed. So I think, oh, I didn't see that coming. So if I said those words or any version of those words,
Yeah.
I think it was. I think I was to make a bigger point, and I think it was more of uh, it was more of a comparison kind of thing. You know, it was all relative. So I think what I was trying to say was more about when you look at all of Dragon Ball, especially before you get into Super. And we won't get. I won't get into the exact specifics, especially regarding Super. I don't know how much Super you've watched, if you've watched any Dawn, and I know Lennon for sure hasn't watched Super, at least not really gotten far into it. So, but what I can say is, uh, when you go through the story of Dragon Ball, uh, I think your question was about DBZ specifically, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't about all of Dragon Ball, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So that's fair. I think I said that DBZ doesn't have the greatest story or greatest storytelling,
Yeah.
especially when you compare it to uh, you know you can compare it to other shows. And I haven't watched a bunch of other shows. And when we say shows, we're talking about anime here. We're not talking about anything else. So you can compare it to other shows, and you can find better storytelling.
Yeah.
I mean, just in the shows that I've watched, I mentioned once again My Hero Academia, Attack on Titan, uh, Avatar: The Last Airbender. Once again, I know it's not anime, but I'm going to throw it in there. It's a cartoon, close enough. And in Monster X Hunter, Monster X Hunter. What am I thinking of? Monster Hunter? Hunter X Hunter. Those shows,
Yeah.
I can without a doubt say that the storytelling is hands down better than the storytelling in Dragon Ball Z, in my opinion. I can give reasons for it. I won't get into all the specifics right now, but I just feel like the way the story is told, is constructed, it's just done better.
Yeah.
DBZ, I think, has good plot lines. I think it has good plot lines. It's just more about the execution. Sometimes it's just a little. I think there's something to be desired. And I love the whole Dragon Ball universe. So I'm coming in objective here. I'm not a hater. In fact, if you compare DBZ to its precursor, Dragon Ball, that's where I think if someone takes really takes an objective approach, I think that you'll find that Dragon Ball is a tighter, well put together story than Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
You watch, I think now that one might say, "Oh, that's easier to say." Dragon Ball has fewer episodes. Obviously, it's a tighter story. That's actually not necessarily the case, though. See, when the amount of episodes a show has does not is not a clear indicator of how many plot lines there are or how many arcs there are. You
Yeah.
know, uh, of course, a lot of shows are in the confines of the 13 episode structure or the 24, 25 episode, in that range, whatever per season. So I do understand that. With that said, it's there's still, I would say, enough there's a little flexibility with the creators to kind of stretch things out the way they want to, or I will even use a word, drag things out
Yeah.
as much as they want to. And I feel like Dragon Ball Z, it finds itself in that position a lot of times. As much as I like watching Dragon Ball Z, I mean, I think there are maybe like 200, maybe 270 something, maybe as many as 286 episodes, something like that.
Yeah.
It's a lot of episodes, and it's one thing if each and every episode is just like boom, quality, just on point, no filler, or even if it's not filler, but like really moving the plot line along.
Yeah.
Dragon Ball Z is notorious for doing the opposite of that. But that's not even that's not even subjective. You just watch the show, and I mean, you just know these things are being dragged out. And I want to say this to say, I enjoyed watching all the episodes of Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't laborious for me. I really did. But
Yeah.
even when I was watching something like the Garlic Jr. saga, which I think was 10 episodes, right after the Frieza saga,
Yeah.
you look at it and it's just like, what was the point of it? At the very least, you can admit that it's like, this wasn't canon, right? It's like, what was it? The Garlic Jr. stuff was literally like the definition of just straight filler, right? Like, someone could skip that. Now, me, I would tell someone, hey, just watch every single episode. Just go for it. If you're gonna watch DBZ and you're not watching Kai, go for it. Just watch 10 more episodes. You're already watching almost 300 episodes. It might as well.
Yeah.
But so I watched it. I went through it, but it was, for me, that was kind of like more going through the motions, that kind of thing. So, and I compared it to Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball, there are fewer arcs, and it's not just about the fact that there are fewer arcs. The story it's so tight, and I know I said that in the beginning. It's just a much better told story. I feel like the way they introduce the characters, I feel like the characters, you see their relevance a lot more than in DBZ. Now DBZ has some inherent problems. It's not entirely its fault. Some of the characters throughout the show to be honest, they become essentially useless. Just to put it, simply put, that's not entirely fair, because even the characters that you can see not as important, sometimes they do have a role in DBZ. But the reality is, DBZ centers around kind of just a few characters, and even if other characters make either cameos or make appearances, for the most part, don't end up mattering for a guy like Vegeta, and who's someone else. I mean, Vegeta, he's the biggest one that throughout the show, once he's introduced, he just has that impact all the way through. He's the best example of it. If I think hard, I could say, all right, someone else was introduced. Gohan is, out of fairness, he also is introduced in DBZ. He did
true. Yeah.
Gohan significant. In fact, if we were to go deeper into the discussion, I could give my thoughts on Gohan and his role in DBZ. But just to give a basic thing, he's another character that is important all the way through. So I'm not saying Z doesn't introduce, good characters and doesn't have good plot lines and compelling stories and character development. It has all of these things. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love DBZ. But when we're comparing when we're doing a comparison, that's when I think a lot of us kind of have to take our our 13-year-old or 5-year-old glasses off,
Yeah,
and
that's true.
here and be a little objective and say, as much as I love DBZ, and when it comes to action, I mean, it's up there,
Yeah,
and the moments,
definitely.
whether even if you wanted to point out shows that do the action better,
Yeah,
whether it's I don't know if there were many doing the action as well as it was during its time, but even if you could point some out, certainly there are some now that do the action better. We have better technology. We have
yeah, true.
so that's not what I'm talking about. But DBZ, its action is on
Top
point,
notch. Yeah,
and and it's iconic. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Because you can have excellent fights, but it's not like it doesn't last in your memory as
yeah,
anything like that. And there are factors for that. I think one of the biggest things is when you watch things in your formative years,
yeah,
it kind of implants itself in you, and it's hard to break away from those memories. And I think
true.
that DBZ holds the place that it doesn't. And guess what? It should.
Yeah,
It should have that special place in our hearts. But when I look at it, I'm like, you have to ask yourself a question. Are you a person that just wants to be either stuck in your thoughts or stuck in your ways, or do you want to grow? Do you want to
true.
be objective and give things a fair chance? And the reality is, I've looked at it and I'm like, shoot, from what I've seen so far, there are shows out there that are able to kind of tell a story a little better, a little more concise, and making each episode and each moment within the episode have more of an impact than something just kind of being, that was just a throwaway line, or that scene didn't really have to happen, or
Yeah,
here forcing the humor, when I don't have to, which, once again, if we go into a deep discussion on DBZ at some point, we can talk about that right now. I'll leave Boo alone. So, so
yeah,
so you putting that question out there, that's my answer. I won't say that DBZ doesn't have a good story. I
yeah,
just execution of it could have been better. That's the simple answer.
yeah. Lyndon, what's your take on that? What's your take on DBZ story?
I don't have quite a good memory of it, like from everything that happened.
Yeah,
Just reminiscing upon it, I just remember everything was awesome. I knew that's something that stretched out along like a lot,
yeah,
like when I watch an anime right now, like usually a big fight scene lasts is maybe 2 episodes or 3 episodes,
mm,
maybe 3 episodes, but usually two is the most, or one. Everything is resolved in one.
yeah,
I remember DBZ lasting like maybe 10 episodes one fight, 10 maybe even 15 episodes a fight.
yeah.
I even watch at Super. For me, watching Super, just watching there's a starting I watch of Super, and I'm like, I go weeks upon weeks. They're still fighting the first god, and I'm like, Goku's still
Yeah.
fighting him. I'm like, what's happening there, man? And like every week, I'm waiting for him to do something extra. And like, what's going on in a one fight? Like, what's happening? And I'm like, this is not concluding, man. Let's move on. So that's the experience coming from it. I couldn't remember. But it was awesome. I
True,
was like
true.
watching the fight. But that sometimes I really have to fight. The fights they drag, and a fight supposed to be like the big
Yeah.
climax of a story, and it's like with the pace, the part of it where you like you're
Yeah.
hyped, you can't wait to see what's happening next. Actually, felt like, come on, I want that to finish already,
Mm.
and I did feel like that, especially starting especially when I started Super. Actually, with the fight with the
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of the god, but
Fierce.
actually it was weird. Yeah, I couldn't wait for that
Varys.
fight to finish too. To be honest, that's the reason I'm dreading starting Dragon Ball Super again, and I actually went and watched Dragon Ball instead, because I just
Yeah.
remember I think I watched up to 20 something episodes, and I feel like we're still fighting mid, and I'm like, what happened? Really? And I couldn't wait again, man. I just say like, forget this.
I told Lennon his number is a little off because I know the Battle of Gods arc does not last that long in Super. I know it's less than
Yeah.
but the point is still taken.
Yeah. Guys, I think we've been going off topic for a while.
Hey,
We've been talking
hey,
about.
who asked the question?
True, true. I'll take that. I'll take that. Yeah. So I think we should move on to episode 2 right now. Um, I'll start off with by saying that episode 2 I found was a lot better than episode 1. Episode 1 was good, but episode 2 took it up a notch. I love the fighting styles. I love the main character, the guy I would consider to be the main character. I just like his attitude. Um, it looks like one of these overpowered guys, but the main guy, he interrupted the fight, but the
The
main
villain.
guy that looked like the kind of villain guy, he was
Ma-
pretty strong as well. They gave him a little backstory. Um, I like the fact that they gave the two other people some screen time. The girl, they gave her a little screen time. They gave the the last guy, the last of the three main characters, they gave him some screen time as well. But I don't know, like the characters interested me. So the fight scenes interested me as well. So it's not like real. I wouldn't say it's like wow. It's what's the word I'm looking for? It just blew me out of the water, but it's actually something that I'm actually really interested in. What do you think about the second episode, Jamal?
I agree with what you were saying. I like you mentioned the fight scenes being good. I found things got brutal. You know, I have a good tolerance for watching things, especially if it's either gory or brutal. With that said, just because I can tolerate it doesn't mean I
endorse
it. Well, definitely don't endorse it. Definitely not. Love for love. I'm a lover, not a fighter. You know.
Yeah.
A peaceful guy most of the time. You know. But not only do I not endorse it, I put myself in the shoes of the characters when I'm watching shows or movies or anything. I really put myself in. So it's like I was like feeling that. I was like, this is just oof. You know, it was brutal. I wasn't expecting that. Maybe it's because I've been watching, you know, some of the anime on Hulu, and Hulu has rated M. You know, every time I'd watch Attack on Titan, a rated M would come up and say, you know, for violence and disturbing images or gore or something like that, right? So I guess because I was accustomed to seeing that, given that I didn't watch it, you know, God of High School on Hulu or Netflix or one of these, you know, nice looking, high end streaming services. I'm just there watching it in other methods, and you know, I didn't see any rating come up. I didn't see anything. That for me to be watching the show and then all of a sudden see the brutality that I was seeing, it kind of caught me off guard, and I was like, "Whoa!" So that was, but you know, it brought a level of I can't say stakes because we know that this is a it's not like it's life or death according to what we can see, given the, you know, not to get into spoilers, I don't think it's necessarily a spoiler, but given the means to which they have the methods they have to protecting people, they do have methods, and because of that, it's one of those things where, okay, you don't think like the worst case scenario is going to happen, which is people actually dying, but
Yeah.
the amount of pain and suffering that people are going, that the potential for that they
Yeah.
can go through, that really hit me on watching the episode.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Although the guy did go overboard on it.
oh, that's an
Yeah.
understatement. That was,
Yeah. You could see even the referee was trying to get the other guy to, say give up,
yeah,
just give up, and yeah.
it was tough to watch, and
Yeah.
people who have watched a lot of movies or certain shows, there are moments where you see a character going through these kinds of situations. It's like they're on the brink and they're just not giving up, and it can
Yeah.
be very very tough to watch. And
Yeah.
this is one of those moments, and I think that not that that's what I'm seeing out of these shows. Not sadistic or anything, but it brought a level of, I guess it made the show a little dynamic, that it would go to those lengths, and
Yeah.
was kind of setting a tone, right? It was setting a tone that, hey, you're watching the show and it might get a little hairy, just letting you know.
Yeah.
So, but just um, building off of what you said, I thought that yes, they did a little more storytelling in episode 2, and I
Yeah.
like that they went into the gave a little backstory of the current villain, and so that was,
Mm.
whatever's going on with him, he's weird. The show has yeah, he's a weird guy, but the show certainly has enough in it to keep you interested.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
and that I can definitely say, without a doubt. Um, I'm very curious to see where it goes. Like this show, more than other shows for me. Well, I guess. Well, I would let Lyndon go, but I don't even know where he is. But I guess what I'll say for me, you see,
Yeah.
some shows you have a clear. Oh, there he is. Okay, so I'll just wrap this point up. Some shows have like a very clear objective in mind, and
Yeah.
you know that clear objective from the beginning. And I'm not saying though the objective can't either um, evolve, or
Mm.
there can simply be a totally new objective later on. But a lot of
Yeah.
times, from the first episode of a show, you can just tell, okay, this is what we're about, right? And
Mm.
an example, without giving spoilers, I'll use Avatar: The Last Airbender because that's a show that most people probably have seen out of all of these, even though it's not technically anime.
Yeah.
For The Last Airbender, the Avatar has to master his skills. I can
Yeah.
put it as simply as possible. You now know that he's going on a journey to learn to
Yeah.
master his skills, right? So, boom. Um, Another example, Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
There's things happening in the show, things that they don't fully understand, but now they're trying to build themselves up so that they can defend against these things they don't understand.
Yeah.
You can see, I'm trying to be as vague as possible, but
Yeah.
anyone who has seen the show understands the point that I'm making.
Yeah.
This show, I'm like, I'm not entirely sure what we're doing here. I know there's a tournament.
Yeah.
I'm well aware that there's some tournament, and obviously we're working towards that. But it seems like there would either be there's like more to this. It seems like there might be
Yeah.
something more at play here, and that's okay.
Mm.
That's not a criticism.
Yeah.
It's not
Give you some mystery.
right. So I'm intrigued, and I'm like, let's see where this goes. I can definitely.
Yeah, because to me, the surface level of what they're trying to portray is that there's this tournament and you get your wish at the end, and that would
Yes.
be the driving factor for anybody going. And if you realize for the backstory that each of the characters were given, one wanted money, but the money he wanted was actually to help somebody who's sick.
Yes.
Um, the girl wanted to continue the legacy of her father, so she
Yes.
would use that
Not
to
just simply your father, but kind of like it's like a
the
whole people.
dojo.
Oh
Yeah,
yes,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
like a whole martial, like a martial arts or a way of life kind of thing.
Yeah,
So there's
and
a big legacy factor there.
And the main character, what did he say he wanted it for? I can't remember.
I remember his was
Or did they say it?
I'm not sure. All I can remember about him is just that because I think remember when they asked him what's motivating him or why does he want to fight, and he's just like,
Oh,
I just like fighting people to get
oh
strong.
yeah. You know that kind of reminded me of like Goku.
Yes, instantly. Anyone who's
Yeah.
watching understands the nature of Goku.
Yeah.
Right away, you hear that, and you can instantly make that comparison.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so he has the Goku motive, likes fighting strong people, and just likes fighting. All right.
Yeah.
Sometimes
So,
that's
but
all.
but like you were saying, there seems to be something deeper going on, especially when you watch the backstory of the main villain kind of guy.
Yes.
And there's something going on with the main character and one of the people in charge as well.
Yes.
So you could see like there's something happening, but I guess later on they will get into the meat of the matters.
Yes.
But I actually want to see more of the other guy, the second guy in the group. I want to see more of what he can do.
Yes,
Yeah, me
because
too.
he's very strong. He has I don't know if you guys noticed, but he hasn't shown from my memory. I don't remember seeing him do too many moves, but he has like a strong punch.
Yeah.
And it's like he's very efficient and very effective. And I found that to be interesting.
Now the thing is, I thought like at the starting, like from the first episode, I thought like they were trying to put him as the strongest of the three. But it does not look so. Although it can change because it's only 2 episodes in, but it's kind of looking like the main guy is the strongest of the three.
Yes, the way they have shown it.
Yeah. Lyndon, any thoughts on the second episode?
Of course, second episode was a big. Well, it's as I did. It started off strange coming from the ending of the first episode.
Yeah.
I was a bit confused at the start.
I was a bit too.
I actually thought, did I miss something?
I was thinking the same thing as well.
Same here. Especially watching it at 4 a.m. I thought that I had fallen asleep during some part.
Yeah, so coming into it and looking at it, I really was a bit bizarre at the starting. But soon after it came back into the tournament.
Yeah.
And then we start getting perspectives and we start seeing more characters, like that new character being introduced, like the Kung Fu fighter.
Yeah.
Being introduced, and I don't know if you realize what occurred. Like animes usually like to do that. Like they like to show you different power levels or just to make you understand how powerful that person is.
Yeah.
You understand? They put someone, they give you a backstory of them. Now I don't know that character Kung Fu Panda could be more. That's an anime show we just don't know. So he could be a big vital part of the anime going forward, or he could just be someone we never see again. Really,
yeah.
You just don't know.
Not to interrupt you, but something I figured none of us mentioned, as you mentioned, that thought just came to my mind. I think it was the first episode. I think it was. But if you realize, or was it the second episode? I can't remember. But y'all there? Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you realize, while the fight was happening in the chaos, there were certain characters that actually stood out, and he was one of the characters.
Yes.
So what I'm wondering is, will the other characters get some time to shine as well?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, that's the point I wanted to make. You can continue, Lyndon.
So as I was saying, that was interesting to me to see how they build up that character and they make him look so like they make him like when we saw him, you always knew he had some power.
Yeah.
And just seeing the contrast, like we actually see they went into a one-on-one tournament where it's each individual character fighting against just one individual.
Yeah.
We get to see how they just breeze through the other main character's story. And they
Yeah.
really focus and we see like that character they introduce is the one that get the big bad guy.
Yeah.
And when we saw that, I don't know your reactions of what you might have felt. It's like what the worst that's like one of the worst situations to be in. You
Yeah.
understand? And
Yeah.
I love how they really started off that fight with him really pulling through, really showing some of his stances. And I remember wondering, will that guy actually pull out both hands out of that to come and
Yeah.
fight him?
That's the question.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. And you see he actually forced him to. And
Yeah.
I love that. You know what I mean? Honestly, I
Yeah.
find this episode was such a step, or like it really up the stakes on
Up the
this
ante.
series.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and it really made you like right now. This is like a must-watch anime, right? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like
Mhm.
the drive in it. That's why
Yeah.
I don't want to put too much more details, but the drive in it is really there. And I must say, I was surprised. I thought the anime was leave on a cliff, like a big cliffhanger to say like the fight didn't finish. I was
Yeah.
really surprised. I find this episode felt like 5 minutes or 10 minutes,
Mm.
but it had
They went
it
back.
had it had it really had everything that it needed to put there to really get that. Because the worst thing is you watching an anime, you finally into it and just see this end. It's like
Yeah.
you feel like
You feel like
it's
empty.
like something not done. Like it's not
Yeah.
done. Like you want to get the
Mm.
full story. And
Yeah.
usually not all the time. Sometimes, especially the mood you are in watching this episode the first time. That's why I
Yeah.
envy some people that come maybe later on into the series and they get like a bunch of episodes to just look at and just come in
Yeah.
there. They really get it good because sometimes you see in like right now you have to wait a whole week for the next episode and it's like you in the time you in the mood and then later on it's like
You're probably not in the mood that time.
like
That-
it's something about binge like that's why everybody is
watching.
different but I really love binge watching a show
Yeah.
to get the full story one time although a lot of times the episode turns to a blur if we're not really understanding or
they all
getting it.
blend
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
One to
Yeah,
another.
it becomes so cohesive that it's almost like a movie you're watching.
Yeah. True.
They're
I
pros and
just
cons.
one overall. Yeah, there's pros and cons to it.
Yeah.
But at
Yeah.
the end of the day, I must say, anyone, the second episode, if you didn't like the first episode, the second episode really picks up
Yep.
and really gets
definitely.
you into the emotion, ready for the next week episode.
Yeah, and I love the points that you just brought in because you actually brought to mind some of the things that I didn't even remember at the moment while I was discussing it, and it actually just brought me back to the show. So it's like it's showing you that it's a really good show. I like it, how everybody brought their points across. It's interesting to see how things are turning out. I was actually surprised that they showed that much power, that much. So many things happened in such a short space of time. In just 2 episodes, they went in so deep. They showing people's power levels and all these kind of things happening. I thought they would, maybe slow things down a little to progress with the story and make it pick up after. But I was actually surprised that they showed so much so quickly. So I'm actually really interested to see where the show leads, and excited for the third episode.
As am I.
Yep. Me too.
I'll be honest with you guys. I was not prepared as I should be to talk about these 2 episodes. Like I'll just be straight up honest. I felt like I already felt like I wanted to rewatch them.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, even though I keep referencing the 4 a.m. thing and making jokes about it, I was awake while watching the show. The only moment I thought I fell asleep was the start of episode 2 because I was just like, did I miss something? Because it starts off in, differently than most shows would in that it doesn't pick up right where episode 1.
Yeah.
left off. But other than I was awake, and even being awake, I didn't. I feel like I didn't process everything that was happening. I feel like I
Yeah.
missed a bunch of things. I mean, you guys clearly showed me that I missed a Crunchyroll video, but that's not the only thing. Like, I didn't even
Mm,
look. It's kind of embarrassing to say this, but I didn't even recall that whole. When you guys were talking about episode one, you mentioned the whole hand wiping an island away thing or something.
yeah.
Even I don't know
I
how.
guess if you didn't really watch it closely, you probably wouldn't notice it.
Right, and it's one of those things where I'm like, I I haven't deemed the show bad or boring or anything like that. I have not even
Yeah.
episode one. I said,
Mm,
but I feel like I need to rewatch the two episodes to kind of
yeah.
have a better sense of things. And it's one of
Yeah.
those things where I don't feel like I'm gonna have to do that for every episode. But as the show's starting off, maybe as it's still one of my first animes getting into, and it's not one that was
Yeah.
hands down recommended to me. Like, we're doing this in real time, right?
Yeah.
So I think because of all of that, I sometimes a little extra effort is needed, and I don't
Yeah.
mind making that effort, especially now as it's just starting off. So
Yeah.
I already wanted to rewatch the episodes, and now after hearing some of the things that both you and Lyndon have pointed out, I just realized I've missed some things or didn't really realize some things, and
Yeah.
I want to watch it again because just like you said, Dawn, as Lyndon made some points, some of the stuff started coming back to you more, and I was just like,
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot that happened in those 40 plus minutes between the two episodes of the
Yeah.
show, and I'm like, there's stuff I didn't even really remember, or I think that I didn't realize the importance of. And so yeah, I'm definitely, episode 3, I don't know what day it comes out, but I'm definitely going to rewatch the first two episodes and kind of give them uh another chance and just go a little deeper. And
Yeah.
hey, at the end of the day, my overall feelings may still be the same,
Yeah.
but I think I'll still at least have a little more insight, and it will help me going forward to kind of know what to look for and to also help me prepare for these future discussions.
Yeah. And I think that's an interesting take on it. Because I think some people that might have seen the episode already, watching this podcast may actually give them the feeling like you to rewatch it again. So and that's what something I like about doing this podcast. Even some podcasts that I've watched myself or other shows, it actually made me think like, did that actually happen? And it actually gave me the feeling to rewatch the episode, but actually looking out for these things and having more of an appreciation for certain things that happened in the episode. So I think that all that is part of the experience, and that's what this podcast is about: giving different experiences, allowing the viewers to experience how we've experienced the episode. The share All of us get to share our experiences, and if the if anybody wants, they can also comment on how they've gone through the anime so far and the experiences that they've gotten. And if anything, if we've missed anything, then you can put it down in the comments as well. Um, but I think we've gotten far enough on these two episodes. I guess I'll see you back next week, Thursday. Hopefully we get to do it a little earlier this time. I don't want to get you guys
Uh,
sleeping too late.
I'll make sure I go for my walk earlier in the day.
Yeah. So thank you guys for joining me on this podcast. It's been a long time coming. A lot of discussions have been had to get this done. So thank you very much for putting the time and effort into this. Hope to see you guys next week. Any final thoughts?
I think it's a good start. That is to the show and to this podcast.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Lyndon. Thanks, Jamal. We will be seeing you next week. guys, keep locked for the new content. And we'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Take care.